When I talk about male space, like I got basically three ways of sort of coming about this. One is sort of like what I call men in the garage. Okay. Men in the garage is having a man cave, right? When I lived in Florida, there used to be like, you would go to these guys, they would have these garages, and sometimes we would call them like a Florida room, right? They were usually converted garages, and they would have like screen, a screen to keep the fucking mosquitoes out, right? And there might be a pool table in there, and they might have like a full-on bar. I remember you could walk, like there's certain parts in like St. Cloud and Harmony, Florida, and some of these other places I used to live, like Kissimmee, Florida, where you could walk around the neighborhoods, and like you could literally if you knew where to go, it was almost like going to like local bars, right? And this is back when I was drinking too. So like you could walk down the street, and I knew of this one guy. He had a pool table, he had like video games, and he had like a big screen TV, and like the football games were going on, and he had like this it was kind of a small, kind of a mini wet bar, and like you could literally go there, just hang out, and you didn't have to pay anything to do. It would just be like, hey man, want a beer? Yeah, you just hang out, and it was just like guys being guys kind of thing. And then you could go to another one and to another one. And it got to the point where it's like these sort of, it was what I call men in the garage. And I wrote an essay about this after like sort of experiencing this when I lived in Florida. And a lot of the guys, it's funny to me that they need this space. They need this kind of like clubhouse. They need this sort of tree house where it's not even like no men are allowed kind of thing, or no women are allowed kind of thing, but it's just sort of like an unspoken thing. Like a man cave is where the guys go in and they do their man things, which is like shoot pool and drink and play video games. Apparently, I don't know what else it is that they do. Like I would play Warhammer 40,000 if that was me. But I thought it was kind of tragic at that time. And that's what when I was writing the essay about men in the garage, it was about these guys sort of carving out this one little area of their house that was their place, because everywhere else in their house was more or less dominated by their wives. So the living room was all done by Bed Bath and Beyond, right? Or the bathroom, or the curtains and drapes, everything, like the carpet, well, all the stuff. Everything in the house was a decision that was made by his wife, and it kind of tracks with a lot of the stats of today. Like major purchases are made by women, clothing purchases, even male clothing purchases are purchased by women right now. Hygiene kind of stuff like toothpaste, bars of soap, that kind of stuff. Computers, mostly women buy computers. Mostly women are the ones making the decisions on what vacations they're going to go to, that the family's going to go to. Women are deciding where they're going to live and what the school systems are that they're going to let their kids go into. Women will not relinquish that sort of need for long-term security because they can't trust the guy. And when the guy abdicates authority, he basically abdicates the entirety of the whole house, right? Now, I'm a little bit different. I don't have a man cave. I have a studio here that I always keep to myself. I have a music studio that I have. I have the garage, which is my workshop. I build guitars down there. I cobble things together. I like to do projects and stuff like that. I have a side yard over here where I have my toys, where I used to have my snowmobiles, but now I have my jet skis and everything. And the house is more or less a reflection of myself and my wife's influence. But like there's certain areas of the house that are, pretty much I'm in control of the studio, obviously. And I try to make it look as professional as possible. But I don't have like a man cave per se, with the sort of the intent of it being like a man cave, like a male exclusive space. And I thought what was interesting is like that once the trend, or once the cultural phenomenon that is man caves sort of became a little bit more mainstream, that's when you start seeing these commercials like Geico commercials or T-Mobile commercials or whatever else. And it's no longer about man caves anymore. It's a she cave or a she shell or a she shed. That's what man caves and she sheds. I think that's what it was. And so now it's not enough. Like men can't have that. But women, you get this little mini house that's out in the backyard, and it's like this little teeny tiny, like, one of those little houses that you get over at like Home Depot, right? It's supposed to be a shed, but they turned it into some sort of like little cottage getaway that only women are allowed to, and it's a she shed. So it wasn't enough for there to be just a man cave. There had to be a she shed on top of that. And then that's when you see, well, haha, men have their things, but women do too, and buy T-Mobile, right? And buy Geico insurance or whatever it was. I also wrote about that in that same essay at that time. And it sort of led me to the idea that men and male spaces are not something that are permitted, or not for very long anyways. And this came out, I remember, I think it was in 2018 or 2019, I was on Pat Campbell's show. We started talking about, there was this new initiative, and it was on Harvard University, that they were banning all male exclusive, like extracurricular clubs. Anything that was just a male exclusive club could no longer be male exclusive. But it wasn't just male exclusive, it was like sex exclusive. So female clubs, all female clubs had to be open to male membership, and all male clubs had to be open to female membership. Well, women lost their shit. Men were like, well, we're so used to women coming in here and fucking things around. But when women lost their shit because they wanted to have that sort of exclusive space to themselves, they needed it away from men so that they could sort of like heal and grow and whatever the fuck it is that they were doing in these clubs, right? And this was at Harvard. And when this new conversation came up about male spaces just recently, I went back to see if that was still a thing, because that was a pretty glaringly obvious thing.